Thank you guys so much. Sandra, thank you so much for this opportunity. You know, simple happiness is a very powerful and very amazing tool that we all have. You know, for us, it's more powerful than the 11,000 horsepower Mack Tools dragster that Doug Collette drives. It's more amazing than a 330 plus mile an hour run in less than 3.7 seconds by our driver Doug Collette. And that simple happiness is something that we all need in our lives and we all need to recognize. And for me, learning about simple happiness was something that changed my life forever. You know, going back, I always wanted to be a crew chief. You know, I always wanted to run a top fuel dragster. I grew up around drag racing. My father had race cars back on the East Coast. He had everything from junior fuel dragsters up to top fuel dragsters. And he would drag my brother and I to the races, and we would just sit there just amazed about the cars, the sound, everything about them. And we knew this is where we wanted to be. You know, there's always times when you would have like Indy 500 on or Daytona 500, and I'm like, that stuff's kind of cool, but drag racing for me is where it's at. You know, where else are you going to have the sound? Like if you're in a bunch of rock concerts all at once, where else are you going to find cars that make all this horsepower? Where else are you going to have like cars that are just this fast and this amazing? And so as I grow up as a kid, I grew up around my dad's paint body shop, and I was always in our shop, and right around the corner was a pretty cool place called Chaparral Trailers, and they built all these top-notch trailers for these top teams throughout all the years. Guys, you know, from the Blue Max funny cars to Big Daddy Don Gartlett's to Shirley Muldowney to Don the Snake Perdome, all my like heroes of drag racing growing up as a kid. And so I used to sneak over there and I would see who was over there. And then around the corner from that was the Blue Max funny car shop owned by Raymond Beadle. And my dad used to take me over there all the time. And you know, this was a place that you could walk in and you could eat off the floor of this shop. It was so nice. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I started getting older and I played sports and stuff. You know, I thought I might be a baseball player someday or a football player. And you know, at the time I grew up, you know, I was in the state of Texas, and high school football down there was a little bit rough, and believe it or not, I was not big enough to be very good down there. And so I really started gravitating towards racing, and I started going with some guys on my weekends to alcohol funny car races down in Texas. They had this series down there called the All-American Funny Car Series circuit. So I would go down there and I'd polish the wheels on this car called the Drag-On Charger, owned by Frank Cook and Chuck Landers, and they were kind of like famous guys in the Division 4 area down in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. And would go there and race with these guys, and I'd polish wheels and I'd scrape rubber out from underneath the funny car body and do whatever I could to be involved with the team. And it was fun. You know, I did that for a couple of years, and my third year in the alcohol ranks, I met up with a guy by the name of Jay Meyer, and he was out of Freeport, Texas, and he wanted me to come help him on his race car. Well, he started teaching me more about working on the cars and the mechanics of the cars, and so I got real excited, and he was more competitive. And you know, Frank and Chuck with the drag-on car, we had a lot of fun, but Jay was a little bit more serious about wanting to win races and be successful out on the racetrack. So we would do this stuff with Jay, and I'd go down the road. It was myself and Jay and his wife and his 4 kids, and we were in this Chevy Dually going down the road, driving all over the place, and staying in a Motel 6, everybody crammed in one room. And usually when Jay and his wife like wanted alone time, he would like give me a couple bucks and send me off with these 4 kids that I had no idea how to take care of, but we would have fun, you know, and it was a fun time for me. learning about stuff. But I knew I want to go racing in the nitro ranks. And fortunately for me, I've become friends with Scott Coletta. His father, Connie Coletta, is a legend of drag racing. You know, he started racing on the streets of Detroit back in the 1950s down Woodward Avenue. And truly is one of the guys that helped build this sport of NHRA drag racing from the ground up. And Connie is just an amazing guy, self-made guy, you know, drag race and did that for a living, flew airplanes for his hobby. And then suddenly that changed, and next thing you know, drag racing was his hobby and flying airplanes was his business. You know, now he has one of the largest privately owned air cargo companies in the world called Coletta Air, and they fly 747s all over the world, and they have everything in them from, they fly Shamu the whale, they fly pot-bellied pigs from China, they've done all sorts of stuff. They fly a lot of stuff for our troops over to the Middle East. They've flown military bombs and stuff in their airplanes. They've done quite an array of things. So, you know, going back, I meet Scott Coletta, and I've known Scott for, you know, now probably about 7 years or so. And I would always beg him, like, Scott, I want to come work for you on your funny car. And Scott's like, your dad will never let you leave the paint body shop. You know, where do you think you're going to go with this? You know, you're stuck there. I'm like, well, I don't care what he says. You know, I want to go race with you. And Scott was like, yeah, all right. Maybe someday we'll think about it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit here and hold my breath because I'll die. Because he's never going to call me. And so I remember at the beginning of the 1988 season, once again I saw Scott. And I said, Scott, I want to come work on your funny car. And Scott knew now that I was a little bit more serious about racing because I had been racing with Jay Meyer in 1987. And so he saw that in me a little bit. He says, well, I don't have any openings right now, but I'll call you up if something becomes available. So once again, I'm like, he's never going to call me. Lo and behold, 2 weeks later, he called me up. He says, you ready? I'm like, for what? And he's like, I've got an opening. You want to come work for us? I'm like, I'm there. So I got a ticket. I had no money to my name. I begged my mom for a few bucks to help me buy a ticket to Gainesville, Florida. Flew into Gainesville, Florida. Scott come and picked me up. And we go out, you know, to dinner and stuff. And then we go to a local bar there. And I'm, you know, thinking to myself, man, this is really cool, you know, that I'm here and I'm hanging out with Scott. And you know, I had like a couple $100 that my mom had given me. It was like every dime I had to my name was in my pocket. So I order a couple drinks for myself and Scott, a couple beers, and I go to pay for it. And Scott looks at me afterwards and says, hey, can I borrow $100? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I go like, this is all I have, and you're gonna ask me for $100? Your father's like a multi-millionaire and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm here. I have my job, and this is what I'm gonna do. Is I gave him $100, and I never saw it again, of course. So, but anyway, we start going racing, and I just like fell in love with what I was doing and the Coletta family. And back then, you know, the Connie Coletta and Scott Coletta, like people looked at them like, oh boy, I wouldn't want to work for these guys. They're crazy, they're hardcore, they're tough people. But to me, they were family. And to me, they were loyal people. And if you were loyal to them, they were 10 times loyal back to you. And I felt okay with it because I had worked with my dad. I'm like, how bad could this be? You know, I worked for my dad, and, you know, I hardly ever got paid. You know, my dad would, like, you know, when payday came for all the other guys in the shop, I'd be standing there. I never got anything. So then I, like, hey, Dad, can I borrow, like, I'm 19 years old. You know, I'm like, hey, Dad, can I borrow $20 to go to a movie? And he goes, movies don't cost $20. Well, I don't have anything. I said, I'd like to get like a drink and a popcorn and stuff. It still doesn't cost $20. So it was always like this like back and forth with him, and you know, like, I'm never gonna get a paycheck working for him. Well, I'm working for the Colettas now, and when I got my first paycheck, I couldn't believe it. And I got this paycheck, and I thought, man, I've like done something here that I've never done before. You know, I actually got a paycheck. So it was really cool stuff, you know, at that time. I'm on the road and doing all these cool things. Well, I didn't realize at the time that when I had left to come work for the Colettas, my dad had made a bet with all of his buddies back in Texas that I wouldn't last 3 months doing this stuff, that I would be crawling back begging for my very low-paying job with him, paint body shop. And I found out about this a little bit later through a friend of my dad's who was also a good friend of mine. And he says, hey, I'm proud of you, kid. You know, your dad didn't think you were going to make it 3 months, and he lost a lot of bets. I go, oh, he did. And I was like real excited. So that kind of motivated me, like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here because I actually get paid, you know, to do this stuff. So we get some time goes by, and I go back to Texas later in that year, and you know, my mom, you know, invites everybody over from the team. You know, she's going to make this nice dinner, home cooked meal for our team because we're always out on the road eating fast food and all sorts of garbage and stuff. And so we're sitting there, and I go to my dad. I go, hey, heard you lost some money. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, I heard you thought I wasn't going to make it 3 months. And I said, I heard you had to pay off some money. And he didn't have much to say after that. So my dad, I think he started realizing, like, I don't think he's going to come back. I think he really likes what he's doing. So he tried always, every now and then, playing that sob story with me, you know, how much it'd be nice if he came back and worked with the painting body shop. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I still kept my fingers in painting because I still would paint the Coletta race cars. I paint funny cars, dragsters. One time I came back from a race and Connie Coletta goes, hey, I need some help. And I'm like, yeah, what do you need me to do, boss? He goes, I need you to help paint this DC-9 airplane. And I'm like, I've never painted an airplane. I have no idea what's going on with an airplane. You'll be fine. They dragged me over there. I walk into this place, into this hangar, and there's one guy on one side painting and another guy on the other side who was me. I mean, my dumb ass back then, I don't like wear like a suit or nothing. I just walk into my clothes and I'm like, I'm ready to go. And I'm noticing as I'm painting, and I'm a guy who paints cars and I paint race cars and I try to make everything like really nice and perfect. And I'm painting and I'm trying to make sure it's a white, you know, and I'm painting that. All of a sudden this fan on the other side of the paint is like moving twice as fast as I am. So I'm like, man, I'm going slow. So I get all done finally with my side, and I'm like really proud of myself that I did this whole one side of this airplane, and you know, I'm like, it looks good. And the guys are like, man, this looks really good. You did a nice job. I said, I'm sorry, you know, I took so long. You know, that the guy on the other side was moving at warp speed. He goes, well, yeah, you got to see the other side. And so I go over there, and there was a sag in the paint work that was like 30 feet long. I've never seen it. I'm like, holy shit. I go, if I did that like working in my dad's shop, I would like be in a lot of trouble doing something like that. So they all of a sudden they're like, all right, we've got to like stencil some stuff on the plane, you know, for like don't step here, or, you know, all the things they put on these airplanes. And I'm like, all right, well, when do we do that? Like tomorrow? No, right now. I go, we just finished painting this thing. It's still wet. They're like, no, we got to do it now. So we stencil all this stuff on. Next thing you know, we peel all the tape off. And they're opening the doors, and that plane's backing out, and it flew to Boston. I'm like, the paint's not even dry. And a couple days later, it came back, and it looked like a golf ball. I'm like, what in the world happened here? And you always, in the paint rep at the time, this was airplane paint. It wasn't stuff I was used to at all. And the guy's like, oh, don't worry, it'll flow out. I'm like, yeah, I've heard that before. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this golf ball looking airplane, and I'm like, this is hideous looking. And lo and behold, the next day that thing like flowed out. And I'm like, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I said, I've never been involved in painting an airplane. I mean, this is totally bizarre stuff to me. And, but it was like really wild, like how intense they were with this airplane. They had stripped it, prepared it, painted it, and flew it in a matter of like 3 days. And I'm like, good God, you people are crazy. So, but it was quite the experience, you know. But you know, so I would do anything, you know, with Connie, because I just felt like he was like an uncle to me, a dad to me. He was just somebody that, you know, I wanted to run through a brick wall for, no matter what. And his son Scott was like a big brother to me, like a mentor. And we started, you know, just really getting this excellent friendship going. And, you know, I kind of considered him like one of my best friends and a big brother to me. And our team back then, we weren't very good. You know, we had 2 cars that we raced out of, 1 trailer. We had a top fuel dragster that Connie drove, and a funny car that Scott drove. And the cars looked good. They didn't run very good. And we tore up a lot of parts. It was almost like that all show and don't go thing. And that's kind of what we were. But I always had this thing, like, I know there's like potential here for our team to be very successful. I know that there's potential here because Connie's so passionate about drag racing. It needs something, and I don't know what it is. It needs something. And as a young kid, I'm not going to go sit there and tell Connie Coletta what he needs to do with his race team and how he needs to be successful, because I didn't have the answer. But I knew somewhere he was going to have an answer. So about this time, you know, I was fortunate enough, I met this young lady by the name of Tammy Farrell, and Scott Coletta had hired her to be our public relations girl. Now, that is a hard job in itself. That, you know, I'm going to do PR work for Connie and Scott Coletta, 2 guys that are not very media friendly. They're not very good out in public. They're not going to go and do autograph sessions, you know. They were kind of like the direct opposite of what John Force would be in our sport. If you guys are familiar with John Force is like, you know, Ringling Brothers, part of the Beverly Circus, you know, whenever he's in town. So Tammy takes on this challenge of being the PR person for the Coletta team. And she was so passionate about it. She was so passionate about the Colettas and the family atmosphere. She wanted to get people to understand who they were and what they were all about. And she would go toe-to-toe with other media people if they would say something sideways about the Coletta family. And I'll never forget this guy, years ago, I wrote an article in one of the magazines, drag racing magazines. And apparently he had done a poll on the best teams to work for, or the team that you would most like to go with. They went and did this poll with all these crew guys, and the team that you would least like to work for. So back then, the teams that everybody wanted to work for, it was Kenny Bernstein, it was Joe Amato, it was Donna Snake Perdome, and the teams you would least like to work for, Connie Coletta was number 1 and 2. I go, how was he number 1 and 2? I don't get how he. So we go to the guy who wrote this. He says, well, I went and talked to all these crew guys. I said, you never talked to us. Well, then Tammy got involved, and she was really mad. She goes, you never came to us and asked any of our guys what we thought. And this guy was kind of like, well, like almost like we didn't matter. So it was really disappointing, you know, that people thought of us that way. You know, and I was like, you know, man, there's so much potential here. Connie is so passionate about this sport. He spends all this money, you know, doing this. And, about that time, Tammy and I, we developed this friendship, and then we started dating. And, I found somebody who, loved what I loved doing and was passionate about what she was doing. And her family was a racing family. Her father was a former Division III director for NHRA. Her soon-to-be brother-in-law was an alcohol dragster racer out of South Texas named Bubba Sewell, who was one of my heroes in Texas. He was a badass driving an alcohol dragster. And then her brother, Tim, was also a kind of like a journeyman crew member, crew chief for a lot of different teams out there. So, I meet, her, we start going out, and, life's pretty good. And at that time, Connie decides that he's going to expand his airline, and he's going to buy all these 747s. So for him, he was taking that next step for his business. And he came to us and he said, look, I've got a lot going on with these 747s, and I really need to pay attention to my business. So I'm not going to race much anymore. And I was like, that's not good, And, Connie, of course, he's like, hey, I'd love to have you work in the paint shop, paint airplanes. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I said, I really want to race. That's what I really want to do, Connie. So I understand that. He goes, but this deal's here for you if you want it. So at Indy in 1992, that was our last race that year. We ran Scott's dragster. We qualified, got beat first round, which was kind of like a normal deal for us. And we were done. So the rest of the year, I had people call me up, hey, can you come help me, work on my car or work on this car. So my brother and I, we went and worked on some various cars through the end of the year. And at the end of the year, Tammy and I, we had decided before that time we were going to get married. And we decided, well, we're just going to go to Vegas. That was probably the best option for us at the time because there wasn't a lot of money. And Tammy somehow got me to believe that there was money to be made in Vegas. And I'd never been to Vegas at the time, but she had, and she loved slot machines. And she always thought that there was one of those machines calling her that was going to pay off things. So she said, hey, we're going to go there and it'll be better. They got cheap buffets, we get free drinks, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, it sounds good. So we go to Vegas, and first thing I do, I'm playing Keno, and lo and behold, first time I win $80. So I'm like, oh, this is badass, man. We're gonna pay for this trip. Yeah, and then at the end of the weekend, it turned out so well. But at that time, it was cool because I was married to this woman that I love so much, and I just knew I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this lady, and we just had a great time, together. And I get back after that, and Scott Coletta calls me up. He says, hey, where are you at? I said, well, I'm thinking about going over to Pennsylvania right now and talk to Maynard Yanks, who was a crew chief for Chuck Etchel's funny car team. They would like for me to come work on their car. And he says, don't go yet. He says, Dad's got this idea that he's going to hire Dick LaHaye, who was a world championship top fuel driver and tuner and just an amazing guy. And Dad wants to hire him to run the car, so don't leave yet. I'm like, okay. I said, I don't see how this is going to work out, but I saw Wade around for a little bit. Next thing you know, they hired Dick LaHaye. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this going to work? You have these two very strong personalities. You have Connie Coletta, who's this crazy guy, and his hair is always messed up and stuff, and sometimes he looks like, maybe he needs to change his clothes a little more or whatever. And then you've got this guy like Dick LaHaye, who there's never a hair out of place. perfect looking all the time. This guy used to do the bottom end on his dragster in a white t-shirt and never put a mark on it. So I'm like, wow, this is like opposite ends of the spectrum. How's this going to work? And Dick LaHaye, he told Connie, he said, you know, Connie, for me to come in and run your team, it's going to cost you about $1 million. And LaHaye was just waiting for Connie to go like, oh, I can't do that. And Connie said, wow, that's cheap. He says, I spend $2 million right now doing this. So LaHaye's like, okay. So we started racing, and for Dick LaHaye, he could have had anybody he wanted to work on his car. You know, Scott Coletta was the driver. We knew that. But he could have had any crew members work on his car. And Dick LaHaye asked Scott, he says, well, what about guys working on his car? Do you have any? He said, well, I got my crew guys, you know, that worked on my car last year. There's Jim O, there's John O, there's Nicky Bonifani, there's Donnie Bender, there's Doug Dragoon, and we were kind of like the crew guys, like from the island of misfit crew guys that nobody wanted. And, you know, I remember before that, like people would tell me, you know, crew guys from different teams, like, you'll never amount to anything working for the Colettas. You'll never be on a winning team, you'll never win a championship, never anything. I just felt like it's gonna happen here, I just know it. So anyway, LaHaye's like, yeah, I'll take these guys. And he sat down and he talked to us, and you could tell things were gonna change. And his mentality was, you know, that this is a team. We're a team, and we work together, and we're going to succeed together, and we're going to have failures together. And we all have to learn how to race. And he used to tell us, like, you know, we would think we'd go to a race, and like, man, are we going to win? He's like, first thing we got to do is get there. He says, then after that, we have to successfully unload the race car out of the trailer. Then we've got to like successfully put it together, and then we've got to successfully start it before we ever make a run. So he really taught us about like preparation, you know, how do you prepare to go to an event. And that year, 1993, was amazing. We had this great run of the race car, but we still weren't finding the winner's circle. Then towards the end of the year, we finally found the winner's circle. And we made this run out of Topeka, Hardman Park. We went 480 at 308 miles an hour. And at the time, it was one of the quickest runs ever in the sport, but it was the fastest run ever by 5 miles an hour. And we were on top of the world. We finished second that year in points. And we thought, wow, we've got like this awesome team, and you know, I think next year we could really have something for them. And we go on to 1994, and we start out, we struggle a little bit, and LaHaye got us all together, and he says, guys, we're not paying attention to small details. You know, there's enough small details on this car that if it takes 1,000 things to make this car run right, we have to do those 1,000 things right. Doing 999 things right is not going to get the job done. So we really started paying a lot more attention to details, small things. And in 1994, Scott Coletta won his first Top Fuel World Championship. And all those people that told me that you'll never amount to anything, that they're going to win a championship before I ever think about being part of the team that wins the championship, they still hadn't done anything. And we beat their teams, and we beat them good. The following year, 1995, we backed it up. We won another championship. And it was an amazing time for our team. Well, that same year, my wife Tammy and I, we were also fortunate to welcome our first and only child into our lives, my daughter Ashley. And I'll never forget when she was born. I was so excited about having this little girl, and I'm like, I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my God, look, you know, I don't think I should be a dad. I just like, this is hard work. But my wife, she was so dedicated to being that amazing mother. And thank God she was there, because I was gone all the time. I was traveling on the road, driving the truck, doing whatever I had to do. Time keeps going on, and I'm really now, I want to be this crew chief. And I've got to keep working hard at this. So I was constantly in that shop working, learning, trying to better myself to be this crew chief. And I wanted to be a crew chief for the Dept, because I didn't think I could survive in any other environment out there besides the one at Dept Motorsports. And at the end of the 1999 season, there were some changes that went on at Dept Motorsports. Connie had sold his airline to another company out of Dallas. So Connie didn't have that, business anymore, so to speak. So there was a lot of turmoil within the team and a lot of uncertainness about what was going on. The Colettas are trying to find a sponsor, oh boy, how's that going to work, And Connie came to me, and he says, Jimmo, he goes, what's going on around here? Why are people quitting? I said, well, there's uncertainty about what's going on, Connie. Nobody knows what's going on, with the team. And he says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to stay here. I said, well, I want to be a crew chief. He said, well, I want to teach you. I said, okay, sign me up. So starting off into the 2000 season, Connie put me in charge of his race team. And I'll never forget, the end of the 99 season, we had raced at Pomona. And we made made some really good runs there at Pomona. We were runner-up at the World Finals. And when everybody left, and it was just me and a couple other guys left at the Coletta team, Connie had told me, she says, don't touch the car, just leave it alone, and we'll go back out and race again, starting off the 2000 season. So I'm at the shop during the winter one day, and I'm looking at this car, and I'm looking at, there's so many things on this car that I don't really understand how they work. I'm a guy, I build short blocks, I build cylinder heads, I work with ignition stuff, did clutch stuff, blower stuff. There's a lot of pneumatics and flows and this and that on the car that I didn't really know what they were all about. So one weekend, I got this idea, I'm going to learn how all this stuff works. So I took this car and I stripped it down to nothing. And it was a bare chassis. And there was crap all over the floor. And Connie comes walking in, he goes, what the hell did you do? And I go, well, I'm trying to learn about this car. I'm going to, understand how all this works. He goes, do you know how any of this stuff goes back on? I go, no. And he's like, oh, geez, what did I do? So I said, I'll figure it out, I promise you. So I contacted this real good friend of mine, Don Jackson, who he and his company did a lot of these things. They built a lot of these pneumatics and all this stuff. So I call up Don and I call him Pops. I go, hey, Pops, I need some help. He goes, what's going on? So I tore this whole car apart, and there's a lot of stuff on there, and I really don't know where a lot of the stuff goes. Can you fly back here and help me? He goes, I'll be there, no problem. So Don come back the following weekend. Him and I, we stayed at my house. We had this great time. We put this whole car back together. Connie come back in, and I go, Connie, we took 5 pounds off the car. I think we made this deal simpler. He's kind of like, well, I guess we'll see. So we went testing the following week down in Phoenix. Back then, I drove the truck from the shop all the way down to Phoenix. And we get there to Phoenix and pull the car out, and we go to start it up, and it started. And Connie's like, wow, I'm amazed it even started. And I'm like, yeah, me too. So we actually went and made a run, and the car ran pretty good, and I was like, man, this is cool, this is exciting. And we had a kind of a successful test session. Well, then we had a few weekends off before we raced at Pomona, so we took everything from Phoenix, went back to Michigan, which was pretty smart, in January. We go back there, and I remember I'm like, constantly like working on this car. You know, I get into the shop at like 7 in the morning and I would stay there till midnight. And I felt like I have to do everything because I'm not going to let Connie Coletta down. I'm not going to let Doug Coletta, who's now driving our car, down. I'm not going to let the Coletta family down. So the weekend before the Winter Nationals, it's Super Bowl Sunday. And we decided we're going to leave on Monday and we're going to go out to Pomona. We're going to have this, our first race of the 2000 season. And I'll never forget, I'm in the grocery store with my wife because we're going to have a couple people over. We're going to watch the Super Bowl at my house. And I'm sitting there, and my phone rings, and it's Connie. He says, "Joe, Connie." I go, "Hey, Connie, what's up?" He goes, "I'm really worried that we may not, have the showing that we want to have at Pomona because we had now a sponsor on our car, MGM Grand Casino out of Las Vegas. He says, we need to put on a good show for them." And I'm like, "All right." I said, "Connie, we're going to be fine." He says, "We really need to take the other rig out there and put the other car together too and run it to make sure that we get twice as many runs with the car. So we put on a good show for MGM." I'm like, "Well, who's going to drive the car?" He goes, "Well, Scott will drive." At the time, Scott was retired, but he was now itching to get back into the car. And I'm like, "Well, we don't have any parts, and this car is like a bare chassis." He says, "Well, you put the car together from nothing before?" "Yeah, I did." I go, "But it's like, I did it over a course of like a few weeks." I go, "You're talking about doing this in like one day in the pit area at Pomona." And he said, well, think about it. Let me know what you think. And he says, "I'll call you back." So I get off the phone, and Tammy goes, "Well, who's that?" And I go, "That's Connie." She goes, "What do you want?" I go, "Well, he wants to drag out the other rig and the other car and run at Pomona with Scott driving." She goes, "This Pomona?" I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Isn't that car like a bare chassis?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "And you don't have a crew?" I go, "No." She goes, "How's that going to work?" I said, "I don't know. I'm not sure what to do." So Connie calls me back. It's like 5 minutes goes by. "Hey, have you thought about it?" And I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out. So I'm sitting there telling Connie, "We can't do this because we can't." And the whole time Connie's going, what? Finally I go, "We can do it, Connie." "All right, I'll meet you at the shop in 5 minutes," or 45 minutes or whatever. It was like, I realized at that point that this guy does not understand the word "can't." Like, can't did not exist in his vocabulary. So we went to the shop, and Connie's there, and he's telling me, like, "Okay, we need to make sure we have this, and this in the trailer." I'm like, "We're okay, we'll figure all this out." I called my brother up. "Hey, John, well, guess what?" He's like, "Well," I said, "We're going to run another car to Pomona." "This Pomona?" I go, "Yes, this Pomona." "Why?" So I said, "Just meet me at the shop." So we gathered up our guys, told them what was going on. They looked at me like I had 3 heads. And they were like, "Why did you agree to this?" I said, "I had no choice. Connie wasn't going to accept no for an answer." So we get there, put all this stuff in there. Now, we're very limited on truck drivers, what we have. So we somehow managed to work our way out to Pomona. We get to Pomona on Wednesday afternoon. We unload everything, and we start trying to put this other car together. And not only, we'd just gotten this body too, because it was going to be the spare car, the spare MGM Grand car for Doug. Well, this thing had no lettering on it, so we had gotten all these decals and stuff. So I had to install all that, then put this car together. So we literally worked all night Wednesday, got to the track Thursday, worked pretty much until about 11 o'clock at night on Thursday, got this thing together, and then Friday we started out and ran. And then we drove that car out there and it qualified. Doug's car qualified, and that was like, wow, that was like really cool. That was what an accomplishment that we were able to pull this off. And it was something that really motivated me even more about, being this crew chief and working for the Colettas, and I'm like, man, there is nothing that's going to stand in our way from being successful. And time goes on, we win a couple races during the course of that year. We had a great 2000 season. I learned to run a team with no money because we had no money. And even though we had sponsorship, it was kind of a buddy deal that Connie had with the people of MGM Grand, because he had bought their airline. They had an airline that they used to fly out their high rollers on into Vegas, and hoping that they would gamble a lot. And the airline wasn't doing so good, so Connie kind of bailed them out some years before, bought these really nice airplanes, gutted them and turned them into freight planes, which was pretty awesome. And so they had this like relationship, and I don't think either one of them knew what they were getting into, but all I knew was we had MGM Grand on the car. We had to make sure the line was going the right way on the car and all that kind of stuff. But it gave me that opportunity also to learn about representing a sponsor. Before that, we never had that. It's always put on the car. It's kind of like we were a bunch of renegades, almost like soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders, I guess. Of drag racing, that we had this crazy owner named Connie Coletta, who was a lot like Al Davis, and we kind of did whatever we wanted to do back then. So, some time goes by, and then we get Mac Tools as a sponsor, and I'm really like into this, being this crew chief, and I'm into, being, successful, and I get like to where like, man, I'm intense about what I'm doing, and it's like, winning is what really is like going to make me happy, and running low ET is going to make me happy, and all that stuff. And at the same time, my wife and my daughter's growing up, and I'm missing things. And she's getting at that age where like I'm missing simple little things that she would do, whether it was a dance recital or something small in school. And I didn't really understand it at the time. I always thought, oh, there'll be more. And time goes on. Next thing you know, we're expanding the team. 2003, we brought out another car for Scott Coletta to drive. So now we had 2 top fuel dragsters. And I'm thinking, all right, this is pretty awesome. Well, at the end of the 03 season, Connie's business, he bought his airline back, and his business started doing very well. And I was excited because now we had 2 dragsters that were pretty much fully funded, and we didn't have to depend on Connie or his company for funding of the car anymore. And Connie comes to me right before Christmas in 2003 and says, hey, business is pretty good. And he says, I'd really like to start another dragster team, a top fuel team. I go, when? He goes, well, next year, starting the 2004 season. I go, we don't have anything. I go, we don't have a truck, trailer, or car. We don't have nothing. He says, go figure it out. I go, well, you didn't get to drive this thing. He goes, well, Dave Grubnick, he's a good dude. Let's get him to drive. I'm like, all right. So he leaves. He goes on vacation, and I was hoping he'd forget about all this. But he, every day, is calling me. Did you find a truck or trailer? Did you find it? So finally, I found someone. I'm like, man, this is not going away. And next thing you know, we started this 3rd team, and I'm thinking to myself, what have I got myself into here? And now, instead of having like just a few guys working on a team, now we've got like close to 25 people working at Coletta Motorsports. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work. But same thing, I was dedicated, and I'm not going to let the Coletta family down. I'm not going to let Connie down, Doug down, or Scott down. So we keep on going, and we've got 3 cars. They run pretty good in 2004, 2005. I mean, we were always in the hunt for a championship. 2006, Doug was down to the last wire, potentially winning his first Top Fuel championship, and it got snatched from him in the last run of the 2006 season by Tony Schumacher in the Army team. They ran a great run, a world record run, and they earned the championship. And it was devastating to us at the time. I felt like I let so many people down, that we weren't able to win this championship for, all of our sponsors and for our team or anything like that. And as me being the guy in charge of the Coletta team, I kept thinking, like, how did I fail here? And I let so many people down. But at the same time, I still had these two people that were my biggest supporters, meaning my wife and my daughter. And they didn't care how bad of a day I had. They didn't care how bad that race car ran. They didn't care. They still thought I was the greatest thing to walk the face of the earth and were proud of me no matter what. But I didn't recognize this at the time. Time goes on, we get into the 2008 season, and things are going okay for the team. And Englishtown, 2008 in June, Scott Coletta is making a qualifying run, blew an engine up, and ran off the end of the racetrack. And I'll never forget Rachel Delago, who was our team manager for the Coletta team. And she came running back because I was crew chief for Hillary Will's top fuel dragster at the time. And she came running back. She said, "Jimmo, Scott just had a really bad accident." And I'm like, "Really?" So I hop on, my scooter, and I go down to the end of the track, and I'm looking around, and there's just carnage everywhere, race car, and I'm expecting to see Scott there throwing his helmet and pissed off at the world that the stuff was all, tore up. And, I always looked at Scott as this, like, Superman. Like he was a man of steel. He'd been through crashes, he'd been through engine explosions and all that. The next thing you know, I see this stretcher over there with him laying on it. And I ran up to it, and one of the NHRA people stopped. And they just shook their head. And I'm like, this can't be. What happened here? About that time, I turn around and I see Connie coming down, much like me, expecting to see his son there, Matt. And he's kind of looking around, and I went up to Connie and I said, "Connie," I go, "Scott's gone." And he looked at me and he said, "What?" I go, "Scott's gone." And he dropped to his knees, and he covered his face, and I was like devastated. I was devastated about Scott. I was devastated about Connie. And here's Connie Coletta. Here's this larger than life person that, the bounty hunter, this guy that would fight people left or right. I mean, he was not afraid of anything or anybody. And he was down on his knees, mourning the loss of his son. And about that time where I thought, I'm going to start bawling, Connie stood up and he goes, "Jimmo, where's your brother at?" He's over here. Let's get him. We got my brother and I together. He says, "We need to figure out what happened here." He starts analyzing things, and pretty soon I changed. That emotion that I thought was going to happen never happened. Things change, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking, at Connie, analyzing everything that goes on that happened here. He wanted to figure out what happened. He says, "We've got to figure out what happened so this doesn't happen to somebody else." And I'm like, all right, we've got to do this for Connie. And we start going around gathering all this information, trying to figure out what happened. And I saw Connie Coletta take this entire sport of drag racing and put it on his shoulders. There were people from other teams that were devastated, crying. There were fans. There were so many things going on, and Connie was like the strong human being that didn't want the sport to go in a different direction because of what happened. He wanted us to learn from it. He wanted us to become better. He wanted the sport to be a safer sport because of what happened with Scott. So we were on this mission that we were going to figure this out, about what happened. And we eventually, kind of came to a couple conclusions about what happened. And basically, it was a fluke deal. It was a 1 in a million chance that what happened happened. And I told Connie afterwards, like, I'm okay if you don't ever want to run this car. And he's like, no, we need to run this car. Scott would want us to run this car. I'm like, all right, let's do it. We started putting this team back together, and brought in Jeff Arend as a driver, and started racing the car again. But it was a tough time for our team. We weren't very successful, and it became like very frustrating that I felt like we had all these tools to be successful, but we weren't. And as each race went by and we weren't winning, I got like more and more frustrated about this, and kept thinking like, I'm not working hard enough. I'm not giving everything I have to make this team successful. And we keep on going. In 2010, we had a decent season. Doug Coletta won the race down in Denver. And I thought, all right, maybe we're back on track. Next thing you know, not winning. We're doing okay, but we were like also rans. Like we were like a car that could show up and qualify pretty decent. Go a couple of rounds. Maybe we might sneak into the final round here and there, but nobody took us seriously. Nobody looked at us as like a team that can contend for a win or a championship or anything like that. And it was tough. And I was miserable at home, absolutely miserable. And I took a lot of my frustrations out of not being successful on the racetrack on my family. And my wife still, no matter what a jackass I was, still thought I was the greatest person on earth. And my daughter still looked up to me, no matter what. But I still didn't recognize it. And I'm still thinking the only thing that's going to make me happy is we've got to win. We've got to run low ET. We've got to do all these great things in order to get me back on track. And the harder I tried to make our team successful, the worse we got. And I'm like, I think I've completely lost it here. I don't know what to do. I'm struggling here with this team, and at the same time I'm struggling at home. I'm like, what is going on? So 2012 starts out, and my wife Tammy, she starts developing this cough. And at the time, I'm like, you need to go to the doctor. I go, you got a cold or the flu or what is going on? She goes, I'll go to the doctor. So she goes to her doctor, and the doctor tells her that she's got the flu. So, she gives her some medication and stuff. And so we think, all right, well, she'll be good to go. They had taken some x-rays and stuff. Well, this cough wasn't going away. So I go, Tammy, you need to go back to the doctor. Yeah, I'll go. I'll get back to her. I'm like, no, you really should go see what's going on. So she goes back to her doctor. Her doctor tells her, you might have allergies or something going on. And gives her some antibiotics and some other stuff that, they thought might help her. But nothing was changing. And I told Tammy, so you need to go to another doctor. And she's like, well, yeah, I'll go. And she kind of procrastinated about it, like she did about a lot of things. And I go to this race in Houston, and I called her, during the weekend, and she's coughing and she's not, I said, you need to go to the doctor. She goes, all right, I'll do that when we get back. So I fly back after the Houston race, and every time I would land, I would always text her or call her, let her know that I, landed, and most of the time she'd come pick me up at the airport. So she says, I can't pick you up. She says, I'm at the hospital. I'm at St. Joe's. I go, why are you there? She goes, I can't take this anymore. This cough is driving me nuts. I go, all right, I'll be there shortly. So I get a ride over to St. Joe's, and they had determined that she had pneumonia. And I'm like, okay. I go, well, how long has this been going on? And she's like, well, I don't know. You know, they took an x-ray, and they're going to keep me here for a few days. I go, all right. So I'm in there with her. Doctor comes in and says, hey, we want to do what they call a lung cleaning. There's a little spot that we want to look at and make sure it's not cancerous. And I'm like, oh, okay. Not even thinking that this potentially could really be cancer. So I said, well, when are you going to do this? Well, we have it scheduled for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Well, that was a Thursday morning. We had a race in Atlanta that coming weekend. So I had a flight out early that morning to Atlanta. So I told Tammy, I said, do you want me to stay here and, you know, help you out? She goes, no, I'll be fine. Just go to the race. You know, do your deal. I'll be fine. I go, okay. I go, will you let me know, you know, if they get any results in, let me know what's going on. She says, yeah, I'll let you know. I go to Atlanta, and, you know, I'm waiting for her on Friday. I call her up, leave her a message, and wouldn't hear back from her. I text her, I wouldn't hear back from her. And so finally, you know, I call her up on Saturday. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Oh, I'm all right. I go, well, what'd the test say? Oh, it's all right. I'm like, okay. You know, I go, everything all right? She goes, yeah, she was at home now. And, you know, I told her, I said, hey, look, we're probably going to stay here to test on Monday. I go, is that okay, or do you want me to come back home? No, stay there and test. I'm like, all right. So we test. Tuesday morning, I fly back to Michigan, land, text her, say, hey, just landed. She says, oh, I'm at a doctor's appointment right now. And I said, okay. I go, where, like, who are you with? She goes, well, I'm at Dr. Patel's, and that was her general practitioner doctor. And I'm like, okay. I go, what's she have to say about any of this? And she's like, oh, she just wants to, like, do a little quick checkup on me and stuff. And I said, well, do you want to go to lunch afterwards? And she says, no. She says, I have another appointment. And I said, well, where? Well, I just have an appointment. I go, well, what kind of appointment? Well, I have to go back to St. Joe's, you know, for a follow-up on this lung clean. I go, okay. I go, they say anything yet about it? No, everything's fine. I said, well, I'll come there with you. No, you don't have to come there. And I'm like, no, I want to be there. So we argued, you know, on the phone. I'm like, no, I'm going to be there. Where should I meet you at? So finally, she tells me where to meet her at. So I walk in, and I'm sitting there waiting on her, and she walks in, and I'm like, okay, you know, where do we got to go? So we start walking around this hospital. And pretty soon, I'm like, where is this place? She goes, oh, it's just over here. And the next thing I'm like, we're walking in circles. And she sits down on this bench, and she says, here, sit down. So I sit down, and she looks at me, and she says, Jim, I have cancer. And you could have, like, knocked me over with a feather at that point. And at that point, my emotion came out, and I started crying. And it was like the first time in my adult life, and that I could remember, that I got emotional and I started crying. And I couldn't help it. You know, I'm like, I didn't understand what was going on. I'm like, how does my wife have cancer? I don't get it. And I kept thinking to myself, I can't cry. Scott would not be happy with me. Connie would not be happy with me. But I realized real quick that it was okay. So I said, well, what do you got to do? She says, well, I'm going to get this PET scan. And she goes, and I think it's something they put this stuff in me, and they do all this, like an x-ray and things like glow in the dark, and they'll say, like, you know, where I might have cancer. And I said, okay. So she goes in and does this test. About a week later, we go in, meet with her oncologist now, and he's going to let us know what we're dealing with. So, I'm thinking to myself that, hopefully this is something that can be taken care of really quick, and, she'll be back to being good. So the oncologist sits there and walks right in, and Dr. Stella was like very to the point. He says, here's what we were dealing with. He says, Tammy, you have stage 4 metastatic lung cancer. And most people survive about 6 to 12 months. And I'm like, did I just hear that? And Tammy's over there, she's like, okay, well, what do we need to do? And she's like positive about it. And me, I'm like, holy crap, what just happened here? So he starts explaining how all this works, and that she has it started in her lung. I said, well, can't we get that out of her lung? He goes, no. He says, it's kind of like closing the barn door after the horses got out. He says, when you have metastatic cancer like this, and it's stage 4, it's everywhere. And he says that with the testing that we did, it's in her spine, it's in different organs in her, it's in a lot of places. And he says, what we're going to have to do now is kind of like plug holes, and eventually you're going to run out of fingers to plug these holes, and it's just going to keep on leaking. And I'm thinking to myself at this time, I'm like, this can't be happening. Well, my wife Tammy, she's somebody that she never wanted anybody to know like what she's dealing with. So she told me, I don't want people knowing what's going on with me right now. And I go, well, what about Ashley? We have to tell Ashley something. She goes, I'll deal with that. And I'm like, okay, this is not easy. I mean, just had somebody tell us that you've got basically 6 to 12 months to live. So Tammy tells Ashley that, she has cancer, but it's okay, that she's going to be okay. She's going to go through chemo. She's going to go through radiation, and we're going to attack this, and that, there's some experimental things out there that maybe she might be able to do that will help things out. And she was really upbeat about it. So I started becoming a little bit more upbeat about things, and maybe looking at it like, well, maybe this isn't so bad. Tammy's saying it's not bad. It can't be that bad. And I slowly started changing back to well, I got to worry about this race. And I got to worry about getting back to our team. And Tammy always planned things, her doctor visits and her chemo sessions and radiation, all these things when I was at a race. Because I would tell her, hey, can I go to the doctor with you? Oh, well, my appointment isn't until Friday. You'll be in, Topeka, or you'll be in Denver, or you'll be wherever. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I would always call her afterwards. I'm like, well, how'd things go? Oh, things are good. Dr. Stella says things are looking great and there's no problems. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I started looking at my wife well, she just got a bad tune-up. As a crew chief, we race these cars, and sometimes we go out and we smoke the tires or we blow an engine up, and we come back and we fix that for the next run. So I started looking at her oh, we could fix this. Dr. Stella, he's a good crew chief. He's going to make this work. And all this time, I'm thinking to myself, she's in good shape. Things are going to be just fine. And I had it in my mind that, I still got to get this team back on track. Now we're a 4-car team, and we've got over 60 people working there, and then we've got all these families that depend on this Coletta team that have, moved their lives to Michigan, and it was a lot on my plate. And I'm like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to run this team, and I couldn't, I was horrible at delegating at times. I felt like I had to do everything. So at the end of the 2012 season, get back, and I told Tammy, I said, I'd really like to go to a doctor's. And now I knew she couldn't say, well, you're going to be in such, our season is over. So I go to her doctor's appointment, and she had just had another PET scan done, and they would do this every now and then to see, make sure things were getting under control, or if they were winning battles in certain areas with the cancer. And I go to this doctor's appointment, and Dr. Stella starts telling us that, well, you have a new spot here, you have a new spot there. And I started realizing really quick that she's dying in front of my eyes. And for 5 months, I didn't get it. 5 months I was like thinking she was going to be fine. 5 months I was looking at her like a bad tune-up, and that we were going to fix this. And depending on everything that was going on, for 5 months she didn't want to let me know what was really going on. That time I talked to my daughter, and I told my daughter, because my daughter, typical teenager at that time, when we were struggling with her, and before Tammy had found out about the cancer, my daughter was going down the wrong path. And when we found out about the cancer, my daughter started changing for, the better. So I get my daughter and I tell her, I go, look, I go, Mom's not doing good. I don't know what your mother's told you. I go, but I'm here to tell you that we need to be prepared for not having her shortly. And I said, so you and I need to make sure that we get back to being the father and daughter and have that love for each other and that respect for each other. And she's like, all right. And she started doing this amazing turnaround, even more so. And my daughter went to tell my wife that she had talked to me, and that Pops basically told me that you're dying. And my wife, got mad at me. She goes, why did you tell her that? And I said, I needed to. I said, because from here on out, there's the three of us, and we need to try to figure out, how we can make whatever time it is that you have left the best time in our lives. And she's like, all right. So, first race of years in Pomona, and my wife wanted to come to the Pomona race very badly. And at this time, you could tell that the pain was really starting to get to her. She was having a lot of trouble walking. She was having a lot of trouble doing simple things. But she wanted to go to Pomona. She wanted to go to watch the races because she absolutely loved drag racing and was passionate about the Coletta team. Another reason she wanted to go there was that one of our old drivers, Hillary Will, was getting married. And she wanted to be there because Hillary had invited us to the wedding. And Tammy wanted to be there because she absolutely loved Hillary and looked at her like as another daughter for her. So we go to Pomona, and I'm realizing that this was almost like something for Tammy to say goodbye to her racing family, because she knew what was coming. And she'd been out there for so many years, and so many people in the press department, media department, other teams, they would come over and they would see her and talk to her, because she couldn't get around a whole lot at that time. And she really had a great time that day. We went to the wedding, and she was so excited about being at the wedding, but you could tell that she was in a tremendous amount of pain at that time. And she was on pain management. They give her these pills, and she would not take them. She says, oh, it makes me loopy, and I'm goofy, and I don't like this. So I'm like, but I don't know what to do for you, because you're in so much pain with the cancer being in her spine. It really, really got to her really bad. So time goes on, and I decided at that time that I'm going to cherish whatever time I have left with my wife, Tammy. I'm going to cherish that time with her. And I don't care about anything else. I don't care about, doing all these simple things with the race team. And at the time, I started thinking, well, I don't know what's going to happen with this race team, but I'll just deal with it whenever I have to deal with it. But an amazing thing happened. I started really realizing that I have an awesome group of people that I work with at Coletto Motorsports. These are amazing people that I hired, and they all stepped up. Everybody started doing things that normally I would do. Everybody started handling things that normally I would handle. And I realized real quick that, wow, I've got this unbelievable support system here at Coletto Motorsports. And people would come up to me when I would come into the shop. They would say, hey, whatever you need, we'll handle it. We'll take care of this for you. Just be with Tammy. And it really made me feel good about spending that time with her. The month of April, beginning of the month of April, Tammy starts getting really bad with the pain. So I call up her doctor, we bring her back into the hospital, we take her there, and start meeting with the pain management people, start meeting with her oncologist. They start talking about some options, and it's getting really bad. And she's basically out of it for like 3 weeks straight because they've got IVs hooked up to her, and she's basically like, you know, sleeping the most time because she's so drugged up. And I'm like, this isn't right. I go, you know, is there anything else we could do for her to where she doesn't need this much medication? So the doctor says there is an option. We can put a pain pump inside of her. And I said, well, what is that? Well, it's a pump, and we can put it in and it'll feed medication right to her spine. That way she doesn't have to take pills, she doesn't have to do IVs that'll make her loopy. And this is kind of an on-demand system that will kind of, you know, when she starts feeling pain, you hit a button and it'll make the pain go away for a while. So I'm like, oh, I go, well, let's do this. And, you know, Tammy at the time, she wasn't able to make decisions herself. But I just wanted her, like, I didn't like seeing her the way she was. And she was just, you know, laying in this bed, and maybe like an hour out of the day, she might be kind of awake and seeing what's going on. And it was tough, you know, being up there every day, and my daughter being up there with me, and we're just sitting there, like hoping she'd wake up and things would miraculously be better. But they never did, so we opted to put this pump in. She goes through surgery, they put the pump in her, and it starts, you know, working immediately. Take her back to the room, the hospital room, and she starts coming to. And she's like looking around. She's like, "Where am I?" I go, "Well, you're in the hospital." She goes, "What the hell is this in me?" And I said, "Well, that is a pain pump." "A what?" I go, "Well, you know, just think of it as like it's a fuel pump from the race car. We put it inside of you to feed your spine and put medication in you." I said, "This is a good thing." She says, "How is this a good thing?" I go, "Because you've been out of it for weeks." And I said, "You can't take pills that makes you loopy. You had IVs and you're passed out." I go, "This will allow you to at least be coherent during the day, and you can do things, then you can get out of here, and we can get on with things." She's like, "Okay." So we start using this pump a little more, and then she's buying into this now. It's like, wow, this is kind of working, and I feel better, you know, and I don't feel loopy when I hit this button, and things are going really well. So we finally leave the hospital after over a month of her being there. And, you know, she had it in her mind that she knew her time was coming. And she asked me, she goes, "Why do you think this happened?" She goes, "How come I got cancer? Am I a bad person?" I said, "No, you're not." She goes, "Well, cancer should be for people that are like really bad, you know, in this world, and you know, because this is an awful disease." I go, "Well, you know what, Amy?" I go, "For some reason, this needed to happen." I said, the big guy upstairs has a different plan for you than being here. He thinks that you're more needed wherever it is besides here. And I said, the other thing that's happened, I said, I believe that you saved our daughter's life. And I said, and I believe you're making me a better person. She's like, all right, I can deal with that. Never another word said about why she had cancer. So she had this goal that she wanted to stay alive until our daughter actually graduated high school, which was going to be in June. And we kind of set forward like, all right, we're going to, keep battling this deal and doing all these things and, enjoy what time it is that she has left. And we never brought up anything. We never talked about like, okay, what's going to happen here or when's this day come. We just let it live life. And I'll never forget one day, Tammy goes to me, she goes, I want to go take my car out. I want to go for a drive. I haven't drove my car in a long time. And I said, Tammy, I can't let you do that. And she's like, why not? I go, because you can't, because you still get these pain fits. And I said, God forbid something happened to you or somebody else while you're out on the road. I think that would be terrible. And she was really mad. She cursed me out, and I was fine with it because she needed somebody to vent on, and I was that person. Like, if she wanted to curse something out, I was the guy, and I was plenty fine with that. And she started yelling at me, telling me, like, I don't understand, like, what it's like to have all these things taken away from you. She was such an independent woman, did so many things for so long in her life, and because I was gone all the time, and I wasn't there all the time, so, whether it was raising our daughter or taking care of things around the house or taking care of our chocolate lab that we had, whatever it was, Tammy handled it. And she lost all that independence. Simple things like just being able to take a shower and use the bathroom, she needed help now. And it really hit me. I'm like, wow, to have all those things taken away from you, I don't know what that's like. I've never been able to not go drive my car, not, do simple things anymore. I'm very fortunate, but Tammy can't do those things, and that sucks. And she was pretty mad at me for a little bit, but then she got over it. The middle of May, middle to the end of May, we go to her oncologist for another visit with her oncologist. And we walk in, and Dr. Stella says, well, we're going to put you on hospice now. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Basically, it meant they were giving up on it. Now the cancer had spread to her brain, and it spread to kidneys, and it was everywhere. And I looked like, wow, they're just giving up on it. And I'm like, okay, I go, what do we do now? We'll contact, the nurse will give you this information. This is the hospice people that we work with. They will make sure that she's, comfortable until that time comes. And I'm like, okay. So Tammy and I and Ashley, we leave the doctor's office, and we're kind of devastated. And Tammy, she's like kind of pissed. And through the whole time she had cancer, my daughter would like bitch at her about what she ate. Gotta eat good food, gotta eat healthy. And my wife, she loved Mountain Dew, and can't drink that Mountain Dew crap anymore, and all this stuff. It was on, and I would get in on it as well too. And we leave, and Tammy goes, I want to stop at Taco Bell, and I don't want to hear a thing out of either one. No problem. We go to Taco Bell, we get her tacos that she wanted, and Mountain Dew, blueberry blast. I don't know what, they got all these different colors of Mountain Dew, and I don't even know which one she ordered, but she was happy. She's like eating this taco, she's got her Mountain Dew, and we're like, all right, well, she's okay, with this right now. So I started thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't want to call these hospice people right now. I said, I don't think that's what she needs. So I started thinking to myself, Tammy and I have always procrastinated about so many things in our lives because we never had time. It's always racing first. It's always, our jobs first, and like, oh, we don't have time to do this, or we don't have time to do that. But we've always talked about going to Niagara Falls. And we always had some sort of excuse of why we didn't go. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to Niagara Falls. And we're going to go tomorrow. So I go, and we've got a wheelchair now, and I tell Ashley, I said, we're going to Niagara Falls. She goes, when? I go, like, tomorrow. Really? I go, yeah. So we drive from Detroit area, Michigan, where I'm from, and we drive all the way up. And I said, I don't care if it takes us a week to get there, but we're going. And we stop one night in Cleveland, and then we make it to Niagara Falls the next day. And I'm pushing Tammy around in this wheelchair, and I'm like, we're going all over, up and down hills. I can't tell you how many miles I think I pushed her. And, she gets to see the falls, and of course there's like just tons of tourists there, and they're all, crowding around. And so we got to clear a path for her so she can see Niagara Falls. And she's all excited, and, we get all done, and then we go have some dinner. And I said, you want to come back? Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll check out Niagara Falls again. And she goes, no. She goes, I wasn't that impressed. I go, you kidding me? She goes, it was okay. She goes, but we don't need to go back there tomorrow. She goes, let's go find a mall and let's make sure that we get Ashley a dress for graduation. That's what I want to do. I'm like, all right, no problem. So the next day we get up and we go find this mall, and we're walking around this mall and pushing Tammy in a wheelchair, and we're going shopping in all these stores. And Tammy loved purses. Thank God they weren't expensive purses, like Coach and all them other high-dollar purses. She just liked purses, and she didn't care if she got it at Kmart, Walmart, it didn't matter. So she starts looking at stuff and looking at clothes, and then she would start saying, well, I probably shouldn't get this because I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, no, get whatever you want. I don't want to hear that talk at her. So she'd look around, and they found a dress for Ashley, and everything was going well. And then Tammy found this little red purse that she really liked, and once again she says, well, I don't think I should get this because I'm probably not going to use it. I go, no, you're getting it. So I went and I bought it for her and told her this is your purse. And so we're sitting there, we're walking around, and I go, well, what do you want to do now? And Tammy goes, I think I'd really like some ice cream. I go, okay. And Ashley's like, Mom, you don't need ice cream. It's not good for you. It's not. And I said, Ashley, your mother wants ice cream. So let her get some ice cream. Well, fine. I'm like, all right. Okay. So Ashley's like kind of, upset that we're going to get her mother ice cream. So I find this Haagen-Dazs place, and I push Tammy up there, and she's looking over, and this very nice young lady behind the counter, and she goes, would you like to try some? And Tammy's like, yeah, I want to try this and this. And so she tries it, and she decides that she wants a scoop of cookies and cream ice cream. So the young lady gives her the ice cream, and I go to pay her, and the young lady, she wouldn't take any money. And I was like, no. So I gave her $10, and I said, just put this in your pocket and take it as a tip, something. I said, thank you very much for that. So I pushed Tammy over, and I'm sitting there with her, and she starts eating this ice cream. And all of a sudden, like, this smile came over her face. And she's sitting there, and she's eating this ice cream. And for 15 minutes, she was happy, and she was pain-free, and nothing was bothering her. And I was like, wow. I go, that ice cream was more powerful and amazing than chemo and radiation, than pain pills or a pain pump. And it was doing something amazing for her that none of those things could do. And I sat there and I'm like, this is pretty cool that she was that happy about it. So it stuck in my mind. I'm like, how did I miss this? You know, how did I miss something so simple as a little scoop of ice cream being so powerful? And it stuck in my mind about like, wow, how did all this go? So we leave and we head back to Michigan, and a few weeks later, my daughter's graduation day, and I had skipped qualifying at the race in Englishtown, New Jersey. It's the first time that I ever missed a day of racing when our Coletta team was out there racing. And I wanted to be there to see my daughter graduate, and I wanted to be there for my wife so she could see our daughter graduate. And my team is in New Jersey racing, and of course they were kind of scared because I wasn't there. They're like, how are we gonna, do this without you? I said, we'll be fine. I go, you guys stepped up a lot, here in the last few months. You're gonna be fine. We kind of have a playbook that we can work off of, and you'll be fine. So they would text me a little bit here and there, and we talked about things, and they did a setup, and the car, the first run went out, ran good. They were number 4 qualifier after the first run. So I'm like, oh, that's good, that's a relief. So then graduation starts, and my wife and I, she's in her wheelchair, and I'm sitting there next to her, and we're waiting, and all of a sudden, they announce my daughter's name, Ashley Oberhofer. And my wife, with every bit of energy she had, cheered so loud and so amazing, and I was just like blown away. Like, wow. I don't know what was more amazing, like what Tammy just did, or my daughter walking across the stage receiving her diploma. And graduation was done. After that, got a text, from the guys that are getting ready to run again, and they ran, and they still ended up being number 4 qualifier. So I was very proud of them. Like, I wasn't there, they did really well. So it was like a good thing. So the next day, my daughter wanted to go with me to the race in Englishtown. I flew in, and Tammy's mother and father stayed back with her at my house, and go to Englishtown, and my daughter and I had a great time. And I told her, do you want a graduation party? What do you want to do? She says, I just want to be with you at the racetrack in Englishtown. She says, I feel like the racing people are more my family than anything. And every Saturday night at Englishtown, we have this like big get together of all the teams, and we have like a lobster fest, and we celebrate Scott's life. And that's where she wanted to have her little party. So we all celebrated Scott's life, and then we celebrated Ashley's graduation from high school. So it was really an amazing time. Come back after Englishtown, and you could tell that it wasn't going to be long for Tammy. She had done so much and worked so hard to get to that point to see our daughter graduate. And I just had this feeling like it's going to be soon. And it was. I went to this race in Bristol, Tennessee afterwards. And I just had this feeling like, I don't think I should leave. And Tammy's like, no, you go. So I'm fine. Her mom and dad were there. She had plenty of help. I just had this feeling like I really shouldn't go. Friday, I'm out there walking the racetrack, looking at the racetrack, and it was tough because I'm like, my mind's in different places. I'm not really understanding what's going on. And I just had this feeling like I shouldn't be there. Well, then I got a call from my daughter. She goes, Pops, Mom's bad. And she goes, I don't know what to do. So at the time, I had her contact the hospice people. They came over and they worked on it a little bit. Then they realized we're not going to be able to do anything here. So they said, we're gonna call an ambulance and have them pick her up. Well, my wife was like, I'm not leaving this house in an ambulance. So her father, Keith, drove her to the hospital. I get a call from the doctor later on, and he tells me, he says, look, this is bad. He says, we're doing everything we can to put like pain medication here, but we can't keep doing this because we're gonna stop her heart. And that's not the right thing to do. And I'm like, what options are there? So he laid out an option for us to put her on this twilight drug to kind of let her go peacefully, as opposed to potentially having a massive heart attack by keep giving her all this, this pain medication. So now I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm in Bristol, Tennessee, and that's not an easy place to get out of and get anywhere. So I'm trying to figure out, how I'm going to get back. And I talked to Doug Coletta and Connie Coletta, and Doug's like, I'll fly you back up to Michigan. So they had their plane, and I flew with Doug. He got me back there, got back to the hospital, and I told the doctors, I don't want anything done until I get there, so I can, hopefully be able to say goodbye to my wife. And I get back, and, you can tell she's struggling. So then afterwards, after I get back, I spend a little time with her, we administer this twilight drug, and then about a day and a half later, Tammy passes. And I was like, so thankful that I was able to be there with her towards the end. And I was so thankful that, somehow life started changing a little bit in a better direction. And I was like, what do I do now? I've got this daughter who just lost her mother, and I've lost my wife. Like, where do we go from here? And at her services, I got up and I spoke. And I talked about my wife, and I talked about how much she meant to me and how pissed off she would be at me right now for saying all these things about her in front of so many people and making a big deal out of it, because she was a big. For starters, she put up with me for over 20 years and put up with my bullshit of not paying attention to my family, because she loved me no matter what. The bad days were not that big of a deal to her. Good days outweighed bad days all the time in her mind. And I was able to say all these words about her, and I was so proud of her. But then my daughter wanted to get up and speak. And I'm like, oh man. I started out as this concerned father, ready to bail my daughter out any minute. And she got up there, and she started speaking. And I went from being this concerned dad, ready to save my daughter from not being able to get through what she wanted to say about her mother, to all of a sudden listening, and I was proud. The things that she said, it was amazing. And people listening, and I'm like, that's my girl. That's my daughter. Her mother would be so proud of her. After the services, people were like, I've never, ever heard anybody like you two speak and not lose it at a funeral. I've never been to a funeral like this. And people were blown away by my daughter, what she had to say and how she handled herself. It was an amazing thing. So I was like, that was really awesome. That it was a funeral, but it was a celebration of her life, and we wanted to share with everybody how much Tammy meant to us. Time goes on afterwards, and now it's like, all right, reality's back. I got to get back to figuring out how to make this car run. How do we get our team better? And started trying to think about things, and this ice cream kept coming back to me, and I'm like, is it always that the only thing that's going to make me happy is winning a race, running low ET? Is that the only thing that's going to make me happy? Or shouldn't I just be happy that I have this amazing job, and I work with these amazing people, and NHRA drag racing is like a family out there, I should show up here and be happy already. I started thinking about it a lot more, and I had a couple of friends of mine that I worked with, and they kind of like brought this out, getting me to understand that like you have an amazing opportunity here to do some amazing things. You shouldn't show up and be grumpy. You should show up and be thankful for what you have, and thankful that when you come to the races that your daughter, Ashley, who's now the Coletta Motorsports social media coordinator, she's there with you all the time. Your brother, John, works on the team. Connie Coletta is like a daddy. Doug Coletta is like a brother to you. All these people that work with you, they're like family. What do you have to be so pissed off about? I'm like, you're right. You're right. No reason to be pissed off. And no reason to think that the only thing that's going to make me happy is winning. So, Tammy would always tell me before I left for a race towards, her last few months, she was like, "Will you and Doug go win a Wally for me?" And that's the NHRA trophy, for the event. I'm like, all right, we're going to try. And Doug, Coletta, and I, we would try so hard, and we'd fall short. After she passed, it was like, I felt like we let her down a little bit, that we weren't able to do that. So all this time goes by, I'm changing my mentality about how I'm going to come into a race, and I show up, and people would notice, like, hey, you seem like you're in a better mood now than you normally are when you come to the race. So I really appreciate being here. I appreciate everybody that I work with, love the people that I work with, even the people that we race against. We're so good to me, through this time. And I'll never forget, we went to this Dallas race, and I just had something about me at that time that I thought, this is going to be a great weekend. It's going to be a good weekend. I just feel it. My mom and dad are here watching us. I have, other family and friends that are here. And we went out and qualified number 2. And then on race day, it was like nothing. We could do nothing wrong. It was like that margin of error was like this. It was huge. And we worked our way into the final round and had to race with a good friend of mine, Alan Johnson. He's probably one of the best top fuel crew chiefs of all time out there. And we raced his team with Sean Langdon as a driver. He's a very awesome driver in his own right. And we won the race. And I was like, this is awesome that we were able to have such an amazing day. And my day started out, and I was happy that I was there. I was happy that I was there sharing this with my mother and father, and I was happy that I was there sharing this with my daughter. Tammy's sister and husband were up as well during the weekend. So I was like, wow, this is an awesome feeling. And then it kind of hit me that, like, success doesn't bring happiness, but simple happiness will bring success. So I really started believing that, and I focused on that a lot from here on out. And I've really been pushing that when I go to the races, that I'm going to be happy about being there, happy about sharing so many great things with so many people. So many fans come up and they talk to me, and we talk about, some of them might have had a family member that had cancer, and they want to talk to me about it. And I love talking to people about it. Then my friends, they got this wild idea, like, you have this like gift to where you can like help people, and you should write a book. And I'm like, I don't know what to think about writing a book. I go, to you guys? They're like, no. I'm like, well, that's not really good. Well, yeah, we could find some people. I'm like, yeah, all right. So time went by, and then lo and behold, these guys are like, all right, are you serious? We could do this book. I'm like, okay, if you want, we could do this book. And next thing you know, they've got this marketing company working with us, and the lady who owned the marketing company, she was a cancer survivor. She loved the story. She wanted to help. They created like a Kickstarter campaign, and I'm like, what is Kickstarter? And they started explaining to me what it is. And then I'm watching, like, I used to like watching South Park a lot. They were mocking Kickstarter. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to have any part of this, right? So I tell them, I'm like, hey, I saw South Park, and does this feel right? No, it's not like that, it's okay. I'm like, okay. So we had a goal of raising a certain amount of money to like start this book at like $40,000. And I was like, embarrassed about, doing something like this. So I go ahead and agree to do it, and then the next thing you know, we raise all this money, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta write a book. So we start writing this book, and we get it done, and I was blown away by everything. I was completely blown away by the response that I got from the book, and the people that came up to me and thanked me for writing the book. And I was like, this is an unbelievable experience. And it's really changed my life. And it's really changed so many things about, what I do and what I am as a person. And I'm very fortunate to have this experience. When Sandra contacted me about coming here, she's like, I don't know, I understand if you couldn't do it. I was like, absolutely, I would love to come here and do what I can to try to help maybe have all of you look at things a little bit differently, look at life a little bit differently, maybe look at your family a little bit differently, and appreciate things a little bit more, and hopefully looking at things simple, trying to get that simple happiness out of your life that will hopefully make you more successful at what you guys do. Because I guarantee you, everybody in this room, what you do, you make a lot of people happy out there. Driving down the roads. And trust me, I live in the state of Michigan, and we've got some screwed up roads there. Potholes. I know I'm pissed off driving down the road and getting these potholes, but then all of a sudden, get on a nice road and you're calmed down. From what I've seen around here, driving through here for so many years, I think there's some nice roads. So you people do a great job. So I want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to share my story with you and listening to me. I know I kind of rambled on a little bit, but I thank you guys so much, and I hope these next 2 days you guys have nothing but great success from being happy first, and then I think things are going to be great. So I thank you guys very much so much, and I hope the rest of this conference is awesome. Thank you.